Finding a mineral deposit is only step one. The real test is if you can actually afford to pull it out of the ground. Planners face an immediate choice: strip the surface for a quick, wide extraction, or delay your revenue to sink a deep, expensive shaft for a long-term payoff. This table breaks down the three primary comparison points that dictate project viability: upfront costs, the timeline to your first revenue, and the operational expenses of moving the rock. Make a call here, locking in net present value, the multi-decade risk profile, and final environmental footprint. We are going to weigh the inputs and trade-offs of both methods to find the exact financial tipping point between them. Because evaluating a mine is an exercise in capital allocation and risk tolerance, geology simply sets the boundaries. The most glaring difference between the two is how they start. Surface mining gets moving almost instantly with heavy earth-moving equipment. Underground mining requires years of preliminary construction before you see a single ounce of product. Using that surface equipment gives open-pit mining a major advantage, a much faster path to production, and a significantly lower initial capital expenditure. The trade-off is sheer volume. To hit profitability, open pits must clear a massive surface footprint and process enormous amounts of lower-grade ore. Underground operations require a totally different set of inputs. You have to sink deep shafts and build extensive decline infrastructure before reaching the payload. This method secures direct access to highly concentrated ore, but it saddles the project with a heavy initial debt load, making early financing much harder to secure. Once operational, surface mines leverage the massive scale of their haul trucks and shovels to drive down the operating cost for every single ton of rock extracted. Underground mines counter this by targeting specific, high-grade veins. You simply process fewer total tons of rock to recover the exact same metal value. Getting that pure rock, however, requires a larger, highly specialized workforce, which pushes the underground operating cost per ton higher than on the surface. While initial capital and time to revenue heavily favor the open pit, the sheer concentration of underground ore grades acts as the great economic equalizer. But surface mining has a strict physical limitation that compounds every year the pit grows deeper. To safely dig further down, the pit walls have to widen. This increases the strip ratio, the exponential volume of barren waste rock you have to blast and haul just to reach shrinking pockets of deep ore. The horizontal line represents stable ore value, while the curving line shows the exponentially rising cost of waste removal. Where these lines cross, waste removal costs eclipse the metal's value. This defines the economic pit limit, the absolute financial boundary for surface extraction. Past this depth, moving operations underground stops being an expensive alternative. It becomes the only economically viable way to keep pulling metal from the deposit. The mathematics of the strip ratio guarantee that all deep surface mines will eventually face a hard choice: transition underground or shut down entirely. Internal costs are only half the equation. External commodity price volatility hits these two operations very differently based on their fixed cost structures. This quadrant chart maps price vulnerability. Underground mining plots high on constant fixed costs, making it highly sensitive to price drops. If the market suddenly crashes, underground mines plunge straight into negative margins, while open pits use their lower fixed costs to buffer the drop. On the other hand, open pits carry heavy environmental liabilities. They create massive land disturbances and generate vast mountains of waste rock. That massive physical footprint translates directly into staggering end-of-life reclamation expenses, and it routinely creates high friction during the initial environmental permitting process. Underground operations hold a distinct advantage here. Their significantly smaller surface footprint can ease community relations up front and severely reduce final restoration costs decades down the line. Open pits offer a stronger shield against sudden commodity market crashes, but they carry vastly higher environmental and end-of-life liabilities. To finally settle the surface versus underground debate, planners rely on discounted cash flow analysis. This model weighs the time value of money. It stacks the fast, lower-margin cash flow of an open pit against the heavily delayed but higher-margin cash flow of an underground shaft. This flowchart models the exact scenarios that dictate the ideal extraction method based on the deposit's characteristics. If a project features massive, low-grade deposits sitting near the surface and fast capital recovery is the priority, the open pit wins. If the deposit is deep and highly concentrated, and investors have a long time horizon to withstand early delays, the underground method takes over. But for world-class, multi-decade deposits, planners often utilize a third path, combination mining. These major projects are engineered to start as open pits for rapid capital recovery, and then carefully transition to underground extraction the exact moment the operation hits the economic pit limit. And the math behind all of this is actively shifting. New advancements in automation and electrification are rapidly rewriting the labor and operating cost balance for both methods. Still, while extraction technology evolves, the baseline financial law of depth versus dollars will always dictate a mining project's ultimate operational lifespan and viability.